Roots run deep, petals flow, fair and florist pot. Hear the stories as they grow. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Fair and Florist Pod, the show where I chat about my daily life as a florist, sharing from my years of experience and uncovering the realities of being a florist from behind the scenes. This is episode 11, and it really feels like a bit of a milestone for me because it's the first episode I'm actively promoting. So go out there, tell all your friends, shout it from the rooftops, share it all over your socials. Up until this moment, I've done what's known as a soft launch, something I've learnt since doing this. I did that because I wanted to see whether anybody would actually listen before I started telling the world about it. I'll be honest, I was absolutely terrified when I released that first episode. I sat there staring at the screen thinking, well, that's it, it's out there now. Then I thought, what if nobody listens? What if they do listen and they hate it? What if my own family refused to acknowledge its existence? Thankfully, none of those things have happened. Yet. Although, that's not entirely true. I have had a few messages about the first 10 episodes, some of which have not been nice at all, but I choose to ignore those. I have been genuinely amazed by the response, though. The number of downloads has so far exceeded anything I could have expected. And for the majority, the messages that I've received from listeners have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Whether you've listened to every episode so far, or this is your very first one, thank you for spending some time with me today. Hello, lovely listeners. I'm briefly going to interrupt this episode. Forgive me, but I wish to speak to you directly. Producing this podcast takes time, energy, caffeine, and no small amount of courage. I create every episode independently, without a production team or external support. And whilst I am loving doing it, there are real costs involved in keeping it going. From hosting platforms and equipment, to editing software and script writing time, it's all adding up, far more than I initially anticipated. I completely understand that times are challenging for so many people right now, and support is never expected. However, if you are enjoying the show and would like to help me continue growing this little dream, you can do so by buying me a virtual coffee. If you would like to make a contribution, please visit www.buymeacoffee.com/fairandfloristpod. Every single contribution, no matter how small, will genuinely make a difference. I'm incredibly grateful for your support already as it is, whether that's through listening, sharing the pod, or helping me financially. Thank you for being here. Okay, back to the show. I originally had a completely different episode recorded to put out today. However, having listened back to it a few times, something I hate doing because I think I sound so monotone and boring, and thinking about the subject I was covering, I made a big decision to pull it, so you are getting something completely different to my original plan. I know, I'm spoiling you. At the time of this recording, I do like to record a few episodes in one go, way in advance of when needed, to ensure I have enough in the bag in case work goes completely bonkers and I don't get a chance to record an episode for the date it should be released. We are currently experiencing our third heat wave, or is it our fourth? I don't know. I've lost track completely. All I do know is how much I hate it, and I'm longing for the colder weather to return. I was going to say winter, but we don't really get those anymore. Anyway, I'm digressing. This isn't about the weather, although how typically British of me to mention it. I'm smiling right now, which you obviously can't see. And aside from being in the throes of this heat wave, England are also in the semi-finals of the World Cup. By the time this episode is released, we'll know if they've made it further in the competition. We'll know if they've actually whipped Argentina and have gone through to the final. that they may actually win. Could it really be coming home? Sadly, I don't think so, but I am happy to be proved wrong. Also, still off on a complete tangent, whilst out shopping yesterday, I found a bag of opal fruits. Yes, you heard that right. Not a pack of Starburst or whatever they're called these days. Actual opal fruits. They're in a bag though, and not the rectangular packet they used to be in. But I bought them. I'd oddly been craving some the week before, which is odd because I've not eaten them since they changed the name. Then yesterday, there I am in B&M and they're staring at me. They taste just how I remember them too, which is really unusual these days, as most companies have removed all the E numbers and changed the recipes for practically every treat I grew up with. Don't know what that says about us. Anyway, Sarah, that's enough waffling about other stuff. These lovely listeners have tuned in to hear some funny tales about life as a florist. Oops, not today. Oh no. Today I'm going to chat about my favourite subject. Supermarket flowers. Why should I buy flowers from you when I can get them cheaper at the supermarket? A gentleman asked me last week. Now, on the surface that sounds like a simple question. But oh, my friends, you and I know things are never that simple. Behind that question sits a whole world of assumptions, misconceptions, curiosities, and sometimes even a slight pinch of guilt. People don't necessarily set out to insult me, or any other florist, or anyone who's running a small business that's not a supermarket. But they genuinely don't always know the difference. Honestly, that's fair. If you've never stepped behind the scenes, how would you know the hours of preparation, the sourcing, the conditioning, and the craftsmanship? This episode will dive into all that. The unseen labour, the quiet devotion, the artistry that transforms a bunch of flowers into an experience. Let's begin with one particular conversation, one moment which perfectly captures why floristry is so much more than petals and price tags. Not so long ago, another gentleman had walked into the shop. He was polite, friendly, genuinely curious, and he was holding a supermarket bunch wrapped in crinkly cellophane. He looked around, took in the displays I had, breathed in that soft, leafy scent that only a florist shop has. He then turned to me with a question I've heard so many times. What's the difference? I mean, really, why are your bouquets costing more when I got this one for a tenner down the road? Now, he didn't say it rudely. It wasn't a challenge. It was, if anything, the start of a conversation he wanted to understand. I smiled, because this is my favourite kind of moment. The moment I get to invite someone into the world behind the counter. I didn't launch into a lecture. I didn't talk about rent or electricity or business costs. I didn't even mention the words overheads. Instead, I asked him something simple. What are you looking for? Quantity or quality? Convenience or care? A cheap bunch or an experience that is crafted just for you and your loved one? He paused, because that question shifted everything. It reframed the conversation from price to purpose. That's the real heart of floristry. Whilst we were speaking, I gently picked up one of my hand tides. Not to show off, not to win an argument, simply because flowers will speak for themselves in ways words never can. I explained how a florist bouquet begins long before the stems ever reach the shop door. The early morning market runs, the hours spent choosing suppliers who value freshness and quality, the relationships built with growers who know their craft as deeply as we know ours. I told him how every flower is handled individually, stripped, cleaned, conditioned, trimmed to just the right length, checked for bruising or weakness, rotated in water, stored at just the right temperature, and curated for shape, colour, and longevity. Supermarket flowers, I said, are designed for speed. Grab, go, done. Florist flowers are designed for experience. Hold, choose, admire, gift. It's the difference between a pre-packed sandwich and a home-cooked meal. Both fill a need, but they're not trying to be the same thing. He nodded. I could see he was starting to understand. Then we spoke about care, because this is where a florist truly earns their place in the world. I told him when someone comes in for a bouquet, I don't just grab whatever's closest. I will ask questions. Who is it for? What's the occasion? Do they have a particular colour they love? Have they got any allergies? Would they like something wild and whimsical, or neat and elegant? Is there a favourite flower which reminds them of someone, somewhere, or some moment in time? After listening carefully to me, he finally looked down at his supermarket bunch. He said something which really made me smile. I just wanted something that looked like I cared. Now suddenly it feels like, maybe I don't. It wasn't said in a guilty way, just in that gentle realisation that there is more to a gift than price or convenience. I asked him, would you like me to show you what care looks like in flower form? He responded with a yes. That was it. We began. We chose stems with intention. We selected colours that carried the right message. We built a shape and balance. We spiralled the stems with purpose, wrapping it all in soft, natural papers rather than plastic, giving the bouquet weight, presence, a story. When it was complete, he stood there quietly for a moment, not stunned by the beauty, although it was beautiful. What moved him, I think, was the understanding of what went into it. Floristry isn't fast. It isn't automated. It isn't punched out in batches. It's attention. It's time. It's craftsmanship. It's creating something that can never be replicated by a machine. When you hold that finished bouquet, you're not just holding flowers, you're holding intention. This is where it becomes more than just simple shop interaction, because moments like these matter. They remind people, gently, that small businesses aren't competing on the same playing field as a supermarket. We're not trying to be cheaper. We never could. But we are trying to be more meaningful. Yes, fully aware that some people will still choose convenience. And that's okay. There is a space in the world for both approaches. But when someone chooses a florist, they are choosing freshness, craftsmanship, individuality, artistry, care, thought, and connection. Those things have value that cannot be squeezed into profit margins or pre-packed sleeves. He left the shop smiling, bouquet in hand. But it wasn't the smile of someone who'd bought flowers. It was the smile of someone who finally understood them. Now that we've explored the conversation that inspired this episode, let's pull back the curtain a bit further. Because while the customer's question, why does it cost more, is so very common, the real answer goes far beyond the flowers themselves. Floristry, at its heart, is a craft. A messy, meticulous, and very often exhausting craft, built on passion and precision. There's an entire world behind the scenes that most people never see. When you walk into a florist shop, you may see abundance. Buckets brimming with fresh blooms, vivid colours, bright petals, that unmistakable scent of greenery and life. What you will rarely see is the work which happens hours, sometimes days, before a single bouquet is made. Take a typical morning at my shop. Go back to episode 2, I believe it is, and I can tell you all about it. Have a listen. You'll know what I have to deal with. For those of you who haven't listened to episode 2 and really don't want to, here's a quick synopsis. I can get lilies from Colombia, roses from the Netherlands, eucalyptus from Italy, hydrangeas from Kenya. The global web of growers is astounding, and every stem which arrives at the shop has its own story. Now, I know some of you are going to go, I should be buying more English flowers, and believe me, where I can, I will. However, we don't grow that many in this country anymore. And when we do, they can't guarantee that we can get exactly what we may need for a specific customer. And it's a real shame because when I first started, I was buying chrysanthemums and alstroemeria from someone in Wickham. Sweet peas used to come in from a man in Bourhunt. Freesias too. We don't get that anymore. And unfortunately, that's not likely to change. So as it stands at the moment, yes, everything comes in from around the world. via the Dutch markets. But we don't just plonk the flowers in water when they arrive and call it a day. Oh no, we strip the leaves, we clean the stems, we trim, we hydrate, we revive. Every single flower is handled by us. Lilies will have their outer petals checked and pollens removed if it's starting to show. Roses will have their guard petals peeled away, not because they're bad, as some people seem to believe they are, but because they protect the inner bloom during travel time. Tulips can be cut crisply so they drink deeply and stand proud. Foliage is trimmed to prevent bacteria in the water. It's careful, skilled work, not a quick snip and drop. Only when all of this is done do the flowers enter the shop floor, ready for customers to admire and purchase. By then, most florists haven't even had breakfast. That's the reality behind having fresh stock each day. Early mornings, very tender hands, and dedication long before the doors open. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear is it's just some flowers tied together. It can't be that hard. I know there are florists out there right now laughing at that. I can hear you. A hand-tied bouquet, when done properly, is an entire technique. Its structure, its balance, its design. Every florist will tell you the first time they learned to spiral their stems, properly spiral them, was a moment of both triumph and mild panic. It's like learning to ride a bike. Suddenly it clicks. Now, there are some people out there who do have it naturally, who could just pick up flowers and create something. I've seen people do it. They absolutely amaze me. But the majority of us have to work at it. We're not just doing what the supermarket ones do, grabbing a load of flowers, shoving them in a cellophane sleeve, putting them onto a conveyor belt. No. We're not just simply adding random stems together. Each one must enter the bouquet at the same angle, building a stable and even structure. This is what will make the bouquet stand on its own when it's placed on a counter. Too much of one colour in one corner or one section, it can throw the whole bouquet off. Too much foliage, it suffocates the blooms. Not enough foliage, the bouquet will lack softness and shape. Florists think like artists, in contrast, harmony, and focal points. Not all stems are equal. Some need more support, some will bring movement, some will create texture. We are building a whole ecosystem with our hands. The tie-off point, ribbon, wrapping, hydration, gift bag or water box. It's like sending someone home with a tiny living sculpture. This process takes time. It takes skill. It takes practice. So when your florist hands you a bouquet, you're not just holding some flowers. You are holding years of training and hours of countless crafting. Here's something supermarkets will never tell you. They will throw away an enormous amount of stock. Now, it's unusual for florists to do that because we buy what we know we need and a few extras. We're careful about it. The supermarkets are just buying them by the tens of thousands, and what doesn't sell goes into a bin. What an absolute waste. We do chuck things away. I often have to. Not because I've been careless, not because the flowers are old. I do it because quality matters. If a single rose head has started to soften, if a lily is bruised in transport, if a stem snaps, or if foliage does have a bit of yellow on it, it will not go into the bouquet. It doesn't go out for display. It will not leave the shop. We florists maintain a standard that supermarkets simply do not. They will sell you a bunch with stems that are snapped, heads which are damaged, petals already browning. They'll discount them, sell them as reduced, or simply rely on high turnover. They do this because flowers don't matter. To be honest, sometimes, and this is well-known practice, they are classed as a lost leader, especially around the peak periods like Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. They'll put them on special offer or sell them cheaper than they've paid for them because you're then in their store, so you'll probably go and buy something else. It's immoral, it's illegal, but no one has the power to go against them for doing it. Florists, we don't have that luxury. Nor would we really want to. Well, I know I certainly wouldn't. Because to me, if something's not good enough, I'm not going to use it. even if it means I have to eat the cost. Quality control is expensive, but it is also what makes a florist bouquet stand out. Floristry is physical, and it's also deeply emotional, and this is a side few customers ever consider. We will create a wedding bouquet for a nervous bride, birthday flowers for excited family members, anniversary flowers for hopeless romantics, just because flowers for people who can't express feelings with words, funeral tributes for people saying their very hardest goodbyes, a sympathy bouquet for those who are navigating grief, apology bouquets for people who are trying to make amends. Every bouquet carries a story, every story carries emotion, and florists absorb that quietly. Most days, one second I can be making a funeral tribute, and the next I'm making a birthday bouquet for a teenager. I can be in the middle of doing wedding flowers in the morning and funeral flowers just an hour later. There are days when people break down in the shop and we hold space for them, gently, patiently. Supermarkets can't do that. Supermarkets don't do that. We florists do it daily. That emotional labour isn't included in the price tag, but it exists and it matters. Now this may surprise you, but florists, on the whole, don't hate supermarkets. They fill a specific role, convenience. They are perfect for quick, spontaneous purchases. A bunch for the table, a last-minute pick-me-up, a simple gesture. They're not florists, and they're not trying to be. Nor could they ever be. Where supermarkets offer speed, florists offer soul. Where a supermarket will offer quantity, a florist will offer quality. Where supermarkets will sell a product, florists create experience. The two aren't competitors, we simply serve different purposes. And we also can't compete, which is the only thing that really gets my goat, because competition is a great thing. But we cannot compete with a supermarket. There is no level playing field. And this is where confusion happens, because customers assume the two products are the same. They're not. A florist bouquet isn't expensive supermarket flowers. They are in an entirely different category of their own. Let's return to the customer from earlier, the one who started this whole conversation. A month after he bought that hand-tied bouquet, he came back into the shop. And I swear he walked in like someone greeting an old friend. He said to me, "They lasted 3 weeks and stomach's still going strong. Supermarket ones never did that. Now I get it." This is a moment every florist will love. Not because we want validation, but because our customer has finally seen the difference. Not in theory, not in sympathy, but in reality. This is what keeps small businesses alive. Understanding, appreciation, value recognised through experience. So, my dear listeners, next time you consider buying flowers, whether for a birthday, anniversary, or just because, ask yourself, do I want quantity or quality? Do I want convenience or care? Do I want a cheap punch or an experience crafted just for me or for my loved one? Because that is what truly defines the value of your purchase. Here's a little secret though. I genuinely love these conversations. Even when they catch me off guard or they drag on a little longer than my caffeine levels can comfortably handle. They give me the chance to connect, to shift someone's perspective, to show them the real heart of what I do. They allow me to peel back the curtain and let people see beyond the petals. To the conditioning, the selection, the timing, the preparation and design, the instinct, and yes, the years of practice and occasional bloodshed that go into making a hand-tied bouquet feel effortless. The gentleman left the shop smiling, bouquet in hand, and I saw the shift. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't earth-shattering, it was genuine. He wasn't just holding flowers anymore, he was holding care. And that, my friends, is why we do what we do. It's not just about selling flowers to us. It is about creating a moment, tiny ones, fleeting ones, which may brighten someone's morning or help to soften someone's grief. It's about a woman who bursts into tears because the bouquet reminds her of her wedding day. Good tears, by the way. It's about the man who's never bought flowers before, but wants to impress the person he's falling in love with. The child who saved up their pocket money to buy their mum a single rose. The families who place their trust in us to honour their loved ones with dignity and beauty. None of that happens in a supermarket aisle. None of that is born from a barcode and a conveyor belt. All of it is born from hands, human hands, working with passion, patience, creativity, and meaning. So next time you see a hand-tied bouquet, pause for a moment. Look closely. Notice how the stems spiral neatly, how the colours dance together without clashing, how the flowers sit just right with space to breathe, how the wrapping supports them and complements them, and how the bow sits comfortably rather than strangling the neck of the bouquet, and how the water box keeps everything fresh and crisp. These details aren't accidental. They're deliberate. They're crafted. They're part of the story we write with every bouquet we send out into the world. In the end, it's not just a bunch of flowers. It's a message, a moment, a gesture. It's a little bit of magic wrapped in petals and tied off with a bow. Thank you so much for listening, for your support, and for appreciating the craft behind floristry. It means more than you know. Until next time, may your bouquets be fresh, your friends be kind, and your morning deliveries be on time. If you have enjoyed this episode, and I really hope that you have, please feel free to share, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you get your podcast. This can make a really huge difference and helps others to find us. I appreciate all feedback, good and bad, but if leaving negative feedback, please keep it constructive and be kind. I'm a florist after all.
Wait, there's more. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Ba-dum. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum.
You can also find us and share with everyone on the usual social media sites: Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, Tumblr, Twitter, and any others which may pop up in between. Just look for Fair and Florist Pod. Please feel free to contact me with any questions you may have regarding any of the tales or experiences that I've shared, or just to do with being a general working florist. You can reach me via email. The address is fairandfloristpod@duck.com. That's DUCK for the duck. Are you a florist with your own stories, your own experiences that you would like me to share for you? If you are, I would love to hear from you. Again, you can reach me via the email address fairandfloristpod@duck.com, or you can drop me a WhatsApp on 073 671 87685. More than happy to keep you anonymous if you would like me to. If you would like me to give your business a mention, whether you run a florist, butcher, baker, or even a candlestick maker, I am more than happy to do so, providing your business is registered and trading legally. As a thank you, though, for my putting your details out there, and hopefully generating some new business for you, it would be really appreciated if you would be kind enough to make a donation to one of our nominated charities. These can be found on the webpage www.fairandfloristpod.co.uk. We live, sadly, in a world where bullies and trolls can intrude far too easily into our daily lives. What was once confined to the classroom or the workplace can now reach much further, stretching its evil tentacles into our homes and personal spaces through screens and devices. I have personally experienced bullying in one form or another throughout the whole of my life, so I understand how deeply it can affect someone. I also realised when I decided to create this podcast, I was inevitably opening myself up to the trolls and the bullies as well. Thankfully, I am now in a place where their words and actions no longer have any power over me. They roll off like raindrops from a leaf. In many ways, my resilience has been essential, because putting myself out there has brought more than a few people crawling out from the shadows and from underneath their bridges. Some bullies appear in our lives disguised as friends. They can strike you at any point, and they will affect both adults and children alike. They, the bullies, are often extremely weak individuals craving attention. If anything, really, we should pity them. Imagine how empty their life has got to be for them to get their entertainment by abusing someone. Reaching this point in my life did not happen overnight. It has taken time, support, and a great deal of therapy. Bullying affected my physical health, but my mental health even more, in so many ways. It is important I say this clearly. Not all bullying is physical. In fact, a lot of it is psychological, and the impact from that can be profound. Mental health is something that affects every single one of us. At different points in our lives, we may struggle with anxiety, depression, trauma, or simply the weight of everything life throws at us. There is still far too much silence and stigma around mental health, but speaking about it openly can make a real difference. Your mental health can be affected by so many different things, bullying included. Looking after your mental health is just as important as looking after your physical health, and asking for help is not weakness, it is strength. I have struggled with my mental health because of the bullying I was subjected to. I am incredibly grateful that I reached out for help when I did, because honestly, I don't know if I would even be here right now had I not. It is also important to recognise that harm does not only come in the form of bullying. Some people listening right now may be experiencing domestic abuse, whether that is physical, emotional, psychological, financial, or through controlling behaviour. Abuse in the home can be incredibly isolating and frightening. It often happens behind closed doors where others cannot see it. If this is something you are going through, please know that none of it is your fault, and you deserve to be safe, respected, and supported. Knowing that you are worthy, that you are important, and that you are loved is vitally important. Anybody who makes you feel as though you are not is not a person who deserves space or time in your life. If you are struggling, please know that you are not alone, and that there is support available to you. There are people who will listen without judgment, people who can help you find your way forward. Even on the darkest of days, light may still be found. If you need support, please reach out. You can call the Samaritans on 116 123. The call will be free, confidential, and someone is available 24/7. If you are experiencing bullying, there is the National Bullying Helpline. This call again is free. You can reach them on 0300 323 0169. If you are experiencing domestic abuse, you can contact the National Domestic Abuse Helpline on 0808 2000 247. This service is also free, confidential, and available 24/7. If talking is uncomfortable for you, then you can text SHOUT, that's SHOUT, to 85258. Again, this will cost you nothing, and they have a 24/7 support line. I know that reaching out can feel hard, terrifying, and pointless. I understand that feeling. I felt that way too. But I promise you, help really is there, and I am proof that it can make the biggest difference. Don't be alone. Reach out. Take care of yourself and stay safe.
That's it for today, where the petals gently sway. Thanks for sharing in the story and for your time with me today. Until next time when our paths will cross again.